Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the summer preliminary that we're having here in Johannesburg, South Africa at Internet Solutions Chill Room. The first match we're bringing to you, which is the last 8 from the top 8 of the Swiss round that we had. We are going to be watching the featured match, which is Nogue versus Selfmoord, our first seed and 8th seed. We're just waiting to get into the game. The players have started already. We're going to be jumping in to see the classes that they've brought and everything. Just give us 1 second. From the display you can see that Selfmoord has got Paladin, Hunter and Druid with his Warrior being banned. Nogue has got his Shaman, Rogue and Druid with his Warrior being banned. We're just waiting to jump in game so we'll be able to spectate these two players and bring you all the action live as it happens. Alright, we're getting into the game now. Alright, so what we can see here from the start is that Nogue started with his Rogue, Selfmoord has started with his Paladin. Looking at the Rogue class, Nogue is bringing what looks to be like a Miracle Rogue, and we've got Selfmoord who has got a few Murlocs in, so obviously this is a sign that it is Murloc Paladin, which is going to be very interesting. Oh, Hearthstone being a little bit buggy this morning, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to be starting shortly. Alright, there we go. Everything is all up and running again. So we've got Nogue, who has a decent play in to sort of remove the Eldor Peacekeeper, using the Blood Mage to trigger the combo, SI7 then to clear, and then just using the one on Edwin Van Cleef to go face. We're just going to be clearing the SI7, really good play there, just making sure the board is nice and clear. He's going to trade into the Blood Mage and throwing down Doomsayer, just basically slowing down Nogue for a little bit, trying to just keep his tempo under control here, especially with turn 6, generally the turn where you could see Gadget Sam with a whole bunch of spells played, picking up a lot of card draw and everything. So here we see the Violet Teacher thrown down on the sap, removing the threat of that Doomsayer. Basically going to be able to build a board to actually deal with it if it does come down again. Edwin just going to be going face. There we go, keeping the board fairly clear. Nogue sitting in a fairly comfortable position at the moment, but Selfmoord can still turn this game right around. So he's going to be playing the Doomsayer again, as well as a second Bluegill Warrior, taking out the Edwin. And then just using his hero power. So now, Nogue needs to find a way to deal with this board. He does actually have a way to deal with this. And using Gadget Sun is actually going to help him quite a bit in this as well. Using the backstab, and this is when Nogue will be able to start drawing a lot, excuse me ladies, a lot of cards. He most likely will use one of the apprentices just to trade away the 1/1 as well. That way he clears the Doomsayer as well as the other Silverhand Recruit, and right now Selfmoord is looking to be in a little bit of trouble. Selfmoord has now picked up Turian, which could actually change his situation here. And they're throwing it down, and Nogue doesn't really have a way to deal with it as comfortably as he would like. So he's going to start prepping just to start drawing a few cards. Doesn't really draw what he would have liked. He most likely would just use the Cold Blood on one of the apprentices that can attack. Using his weapon he can take 6 to face. I mean, he's not really too worried about his health pool right now. He starts to use Cold Blood on the Gadget Sand instead. Picking up a backstab. Throwing it down onto the, again, just more cards being drawn here, and Selfmoord doesn't really have a way to deal with this. No, maybe you would have wanted to throw that rather onto the apprentice. By doing that, you would have been able to also use the conceal, picking up another card draw. He's going to use his violet teacher though. He's going to push face for 9, and we'll most likely then see a conceal come down now as well. It's a tomb pillager. He's going to use his hero power, and he's also going to end up just going face. Really, really strong. Excuse me, strong play here by him. And Southwood at this stage doesn't really have a way to deal with this board. He has picked up the equality, but unfortunately I think it's just a little bit too late. He can use Rag to heal himself, but there is 17 damage on board. 17 with his weapon, that's 18. He could heal himself for 18, take him straight back up to 30. Or he can actually use Rag and Ragnaros the Light Lord and pick up... He is going to draw a card. He's going to decide to use just Forbidden Healing. Healing himself back up to 23 and still keeping himself quite comfortable here. We do still have the Ragnaros Light Lord as well, just to keep himself in his health pool quite healthy. The Shadow Strike being picked up by Nogue, easy be able to clear the board. He is also an Eviscerator. I'm wondering if this is not actually lethal now. Yep, with that, this will most likely be lethal. Wondering why he didn't actually throw down the Azure Drake. He has seemed to have missed lethal now.
The light protects me.
Maybe he's going to just put him straight back onto 1 and see what he's able to do. Unfortunately, Self-Mode doesn't really have the facilities available to actually deal with it. So Self-Mode has now actually picked up the Ivory Knight. Discover spell, restore restore health to your hero equal to its cost. If he is able to pick up something like an Anyfin by doing it, he is going to restore another 10, but it is still going to keep him pretty much close to death. So at this stage of the time, it's very difficult for Southmoor to deal with it. Alright, so we're going to see the Ivory Knight being thrown down here. Oh, he does have the Lay of Hands that would be able to help him, but unfortunately nothing that he can actually use. And that's going to be the game here for Nogue, taking the first game in this 1-0. Unfortunately, Selfmode going down with his Paladin. Nogue going to be moving 1-0 up in the series, and going to be looking very comfortable. Miracle Rogue in a format like this is actually really, really incredibly strong. It can prove quite daunting and quite difficult to deal with at times. So really well played here by Nogue. We're going to be moving into the second game. Selfmode, considering he has now seen that there is Miracle Rogue, he does have a choice where he can still bring either Hunter or Druid against it, and I feel that Druid may be potentially one of the better classes. He does still have a problem that could arise. Alright, so what we see now, sorry ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to sort out the sound here. Okay, so what we see now is that Nogue has actually picked up the SI, which is actually very decent. We've also got Selfmode, who has decided to take Hunter, which is actually not a bad class to take, considering, I mean, he has got a decent curve out for the first few turns, and he does have a way to deal with any early threats that Nogue may actually throw down in this match. Nogue has picked up the Eviscerate, which he's just going to use to try and keep board clear. It's going to be very important for the Rogue to actually keep board clear. Rogue can get, well, Hunter can get really out of hand if things do. Alright, so we have seen the Knife Juggler come down here. Nogue does have a few options, and unfortunately none of them, he doesn't really have a play that you would want to use this turn. I suspect that playing the naked SI7 is an option. He does also have the choice of just using Phantom Knives, then maybe just picking up some card draw, but Phantom Knives he's definitely want to save for a later stage. So he's just going to end up tanking at least about 4 to 6 damage from this Knife Juggler. Selfmode going to use the Eagle Horn bow that he's just picked up, as well as then just pushing face, maximizing the amount of damage that he can actually do this turn. Also, he has picked up the weapon and thrown that down, which is also very strong. So Tomb Pillager is going to be thrown down from Nogue's top deck, clearing out the Knife Juggler. By doing this, he's maintained board control and is going to be starting to look in a little bit of a better position than what he was originally in. The Self Mode is going to throw down the Cloaked Huntress. That is also from the new expansion. Now the question is, he doesn't really want to attack. He could have traded into the Tomb Pillager, but then potentially taking 10 damage from him. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a not a wise play, to be brutally honest. Alright, so Nogue has got a couple of options here. He knows that there isn't any secrets in hand, because otherwise secrets would have been played. So Fan of Knives getting rid of the Divine Shield, also just possibly cycling for some cards, hopefully picking up something. He does have a way to actually clear the board now by using his Dagger Mastery, also using the Tomb Pillager, clearing out the Cloaked Huntress. 5-1 Tomb Pillager, it's traded very well, and it's still a big threat on the board that if not dealt with right, Self Mode could be taking quite a bit of damage from him. Self Mode going to play the Fiery Bat as well as use his Quick Shot as well to face, as well as his Steady Shot, and he's really rushing him down here. Nogue has now picked up the Backstab, and unless Self Mode is able to pick up any sort of other beasts or whatever, he is going to be struggling here. But we might just see the Naked SI7 throw down.
This guy's toast.
Nogue deciding to also go face. He's going to clear the Tomb Pillager. Coin being picked up. And Edwin is going to be a 6-6. So now Self Mode does have 2, 4, 7, 12 damage. Doesn't have that much just yet, but he does have Animal Companion. And it is a Leok. So now the question is, do you actually unleash the Hounds? He feels that now is the right time to do it. He's going to be able to push 7 damage by doing such. And already Self Mode is looking very strong with this Face Hunter now. Gadgets and being picked up, but unfortunately he needs to deal with the board. He can't actually sacrifice card draw. He needs to be able to clear this board without taking much more damage. He will be able to clear a little bit of it. He's going to use the coin, hopefully picking up something that he can actually use. He's going to end up using his Dagger Mastery and just clearing the other Hound. So there's a beast being removed, but now Nogue is on a clock, unfortunately, by putting himself into the situation. He has picked up now the Freezing Trap, which he can throw down, use his Hero Power, and it is going to leave Nogue now on 4. So he is the next turn, unless Nogue is able to actually deal with this board, which I don't think he is able to. I don't think he'll be able. He could potentially do enough damage, but now the question is, how does he actually do enough damage here? He's going to eviscerate face, possibly just picking up more cards, hopefully picking up something he's able to use. He does have at least 10 damage that can go to face. There's 16 potentially. He's going to realize that it is a Freezing Trap. It is going to cost 2 more, so unfortunately I don't think there is a way. No, going to use Conceal first, possibly hoping to pick up some more cards. And unfortunately, I think Nogue is actually sitting in a situation where he might actually ten damage is going to be pushed to face. And I think this is unfortunately when Nogue is going to realize maybe it's just not enough.
This guy's toast.
Just maximizing his mana with the Dagger Mastery, and unfortunately Self Mode does actually have this game now, also with the Fiery Bat. So here we go, we're going to see the kill command as well as the Steady Shot come down, and Self Mode is going to tie the series 1-1 with his Face Hunter. Very, very good game here by Self Mode, going face, putting a lot of pressure on from the get-go. The Cloak Huntress maybe not getting them as much value as he would have liked, without all the secrets, but in the end he does actually claim the win. And Nogue is no longer allowed to use his Rogue in this last hero standing. So Self Mode, well, Nogue now knows that it's not just a normal hunter, it is Face Hunter. His questions are if his shaman is also aggro. He has the choice of either rushing it down as well and turning it into a race, or he has the choice of maybe playing druid and hopefully picking up some sort of ways to deal with the early board and the early pressure from self-mid, and hopefully be able to pick up a win and tie up, league go up 2-1. So he has decided to take the druid. Druid is going to be the better class for this. The hero power provides a lot of versatility for the druid, where it's not only health gain, but it's also a means of actually dealing with the board. So Noga has mulliganed 3 of his cards. Self-mode, he's actually got a really nice start here. So he is going to be able to play the Argent Squire. Argent Squire, very good 1-drop, and Noga doesn't really have a way to deal with it just yet. He's going to coin out the wild growth, so possibly try and just start curving up pretty nicely. The Eagle Hornbow has been picked up. Self-mode doesn't really have a play that he would like to do, so he's just going to end up pushing face here. Now going to try and discover a spell here off the Raven Isle, hopefully picking up something that's going to be beneficial to him. He could try and go for further ramp, which it looks like he is going to do. So wild growth again. He's going to be on 5 mana next turn, and he's going to start looking quite comfortable with all this ramp. So he's going to use the Eagle Hornbow. He's going to be pushing 4 damage this turn. And Noga's already taken 7 damage off the first 3 turns. Not as much as Self-mode would have liked, but it is still a lot of damage that he has actually taken now. So we're going to see the Wrath here for 1, picking up another card draw. Just to see whether he should put another minion on board, but he is just going to use his Shapeshift and actually clear the 1-1 Squire. The Infestive Wolves here is actually just a really good play. But Self-mode's got to consider whether he actually still ends up going face with his Eagle Hornbow, or does he actually just let on a secret along with the Fiery Bat. So now it's been picked up, but Emperor Tharison is just too good of a card to let off right now. To let go right now. So Noga's going to be able to discount his hand. The swipe is going to help him quite a bit here. So we do see the Animal Companion. Misha, which is actually a really, really nice draw for him. So Self-mode is thinking he can't let Emperor get any more value. So I think using Quick Shot here on the Emperor, as well as then trading in your Fiery Bat, you are going to be able to do 1 damage to face with the Flame, as well as then just passing on your turn here. So we do see Wisps being picked up by Noga. Very strong card, and it's, unfortunately it is a little bit weak to Unleash the Hounds. Alright, so we do see the swipe to clear the board here. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize for the bug, unfortunately, that you see on your screen here. So Infestive Wolves, right now Self-mode from pretty much from this turn onwards is going to be using his hero power. He's just got to hope that he's able to actually deal with the board that could be coming from it. Noga's really got to consider if that is potentially Freezing Trap, because if it is Freezing Trap, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Going face, he'll be able to test for a lot more things as well. So Noga's deciding that he's going to be summoning the Wisps. He's going to be giving his minions +1/+1, which is a really, really good for him, and he's deciding that he's just rather going to pass. Self-mode possibly wishing that he had Explosive Trap. So we do see the trade in here. He's really going to hope that 2 of those juggles actually hit. One of the juggles, just a little bit to the right. Again, hoping that one of the juggles hit the... it does kill one of the Wisps though. No, rather just choosing to go and buff up his minions more, instead of actually testing for potential threats. Now he knows that it's not explosive and it's not misdirection or anything. He definitely knows now that it's Snake Trap, and he's just going to continue pushing face here. There's an additional 9 damage. I mean, Self mode is going to be put onto only 11. Like deciding now is a good time to rather just trigger the secret. Unfortunately, self mode has no way to actually deal with this board comfortably. He's going to throw down the Cloak Huntress, using his quick shot, picking up a kill command, so he's able to deal a little bit, but not as much as he definitely would like. Unfortunately, I do think that there's just too much damage on board for him to actually clear everything. So I'm just doing the calculations because he is able to at least clear one of the 3/3s. He's able to clear Fandral as well, but he is going to be leaving it with at least 4 more 2/2s. Sophomore going to be clearing one of the 3/3s there. Gonna start roping soon, but Sophomore does realize that there's nothing he can do there, so he decides to take the concede, and Nogi's going to move 2-1 up in the series, taking the win with his Druid. Unfortunately, Sophomore not being able to play his Hunter anymore. Hunter, very interesting considering they decided to embrace the new cards and all. So Nog, as we mentioned, is moving 2-1 up in the series, taking the win with his Druid. Selfmode, unfortunately, only locked into his Druid now, so we're going to be seeing a bit of a mirror match here.
I must protect the wild. Nature must be preserved.
So Selfmode, already with Yogg in hand, does show that he is playing the Yogg Druid. Wild growths for both players already, which is going to be very nice for both of them. Selfmode just going to end up passing. Oh, Nog with a second wild growth. He's just going to coin it out. He's going to try to get ahead of the curve. I don't know if I agree with using the coin just yet. I definitely think that just waiting for the wild growth would have been perfectly fine as well. Both players with both wild growths. Both of them are going to be ramping really, really far ahead. And I think both players are going to like the fact that they are ramping this far. So Nog again using his second wild growth. And it does seem like he's just, by doing that, he's actually just lost a little bit of mana efficiency. So we do see the second wild growth here, as well as then just going face. Nog may consider maybe just ramping a little bit more by using the Maya Keeper, but Fandral is also a potential. Unfortunately, Selfmode doesn't really have a way to deal with it just yet. He's just by him just playing Ember, he's happy with whatever actually comes from Nog. And I mean, that Nourish is just going to be so good right now. Gaining 2 mana crystals and drawing 3 cards. He's going to be able to discover a spell and as well as a minion with the Raven Idol. Again, the value that Fandral gives if he's not actually dealt with when he's played is just absolutely absurd. Power of the Wild is definitely... He's going to choose to take an Innovate. He's going to use Swipe to actually deal with the board and then use another Innovate with his Hero Power to actually clear the Emperor. And already Fandral proving to be so much worth from this. Alright. Selfmode's still a little bit on the back foot here. He has picked up an Azure Drake. So he does have a choice of which one he wants to play in case. But it looks like he's rather going to use Savage Roar as well as Living Roots, dealing the 2 damage and Hero Power to actually clear the Fandral. Unfortunately, a lot of resources being used just to clear a single Fandral. There's a lot of spell damage, that's for sure. So he's going to deal 3 damage and then actually just clear the Fandral now. But I think the damage has already been done. Nog has a choice. You could just decide, you know what, Onyxia on curve. It's too good to pass up. Anyway, he gets hurt is by the swipe. Oh, okay. So we do see the swipe that's been picked up now. question is, how does he actually want to deal with this? Because that's already 5 damage. He's going to throw down the second Azure Drake. He's going to end up swiping away the Onyxia. And I think you almost like just trade it as well. So Nogue's board being dealt with here, but we just still see the follow-up of potential Ancient of War, and you will be able to actually clear the Azure Drake in as well. So he's going to deal 1 damage and draw a card. I think he's just going to be summoning 2 1/1 Saplings as well. You know, the Savage Roar is going to be there now as well. So he does actually have 11 damage, 13 with his hero attacking as well with the Savage Roar. Oh, Mulch is such a good pickup. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't take Mulch.
Pay attention, class.
So the Violet Teacher coming down as well as in the Mulch. Let's see what he actually gets out of it. I think Selfmore is just going to try and control board as much as possible. Ancient Brewmaster. Could actually cause quite a few problems with the Maya Keeper because you'll be able to get a few. So there we go. We're going to see the hero power and the swipe clear here from Nogue. And he's just going to throw down that Ancient Brewmaster on board. 4 mana, 5/4. Actually a very strong body. It might be a little bit difficult for Selfmore to deal with it. He doesn't actually pick up a swipe here. Yogg being picked up though. Selfmore, do you feel ballsy? Unfortunately, he does not feel ballsy, and he's going to play the Blood Mage as well. He's just going to go face. Unfortunately, that bug there still being there. We do now see the Living Roost that has been picked up. Ancient of War. Going to be rooted and not uprooted. I'm still waiting for the day the player decides to go uproot. So Living Roots to deal with the Blood Mage, picking up an extra card draw. And Doug just ended up using his hero power. Selfmore, the plays that Selfmore doesn't really have many plays here. He could just consider maybe playing Yogg, or he could actually use all the cards in his hand, like the Living Roots, the Innovate, just to get 2 additional spells then from Yogg. He's going to use the 2 Saplings, he's going to use his hero power, so I think he's just going to be waiting for Yogg just a little bit longer. Oh, Wisps being picked up. Now Nogue does actually have potential lethal come a little later on. He's going to be summoning the Wisps and going face. So now Nogue has actually got a potential for lethal next turn if the board is not actually dealt with. I think Selfboard at this stage might actually even realize it, and he might just consider playing... never mind. The swipe actually deals with the board as well. So I think perfectly fine. The top deck swipe. Using the Sapling, he's just going to trade it with face, keep the minion on the board, and go face. And now Selfmore has turned it around a little bit. Unfortunately, the double Savage Roar here by Nogue going a little bit to waste. I think you might need to just start using your resources as best as you can. Using the Maya Keeper, summoning the Slime, as well as then using the Soul of the Forest, you will have a 3/2/2/2, and they'll both summon 2/2s when they die. I think he's going to be looking for a little bit more worth with that. There's no really more clears that Selfmore does have, unless of course Yogg is able to do something. Innovate being used first doesn't actually give you the two mana, but he is just going to be able to play Yogg still either way, and we're going to see Yogg come down in a rage. Wrong one, Yogg. Right one, Yogg. Forgotten Torch or Maya Keeper. Yogg, wrong one. sap going to be sent my keeper back to the hand. So he actually dealt with the board a little bit. He's going to be able to draw 2 cards, which I think he'll be grateful for. Ice Barrier, another Mind Vision, another Savage Roar, Dart Trap, the Flash Heal. Oh, not a bad yard considering.
Pay attention, class.
The land serves me.
Shapeshift going to be using that's going to trigger the Dart Trap, yeah. Unfortunately, getting rid of the slime instead. I think you definitely would have preferred the Violet Teacher going away there. But still, nevertheless, Yoko's able to actually bring back the game a little bit, but that teacher is going to cause a lot of problems. Going for minions, I think you might be just looking for some sort of taunt. The Twin Emperor is actually not going to be bad here. You are going to see him use the Wrath as well, just clearing out that 3/3 Maya Keeper, and Nog is starting to sit in a little bit of a sticky situation. Power of the Wild he'll be able to do. He might be able to. Yeah, he's using Savage Roar first. Is definitely a lot more wise. He'll be able to get 2 minions that are actually going to have those additional buffs, and he's still going to have Soul of the Forest now also being used. And he is going to be able to clear the Twin Emperor Volcars and still go face for 2. Going to be triggering the Ice Barrier though. Mulch being picked up now again. Someone has got to consider though, is it worthwhile using it? What could possibly come out of the mulch? I think anything with sort of like a charge. King Crush would be really great. Okay, so see Reaver. Alright, so we're going to see my keeper throwing down the slime as well, and just hero power and going face. Self-Mode does actually have a bit of damage in hand, assuming that he can actually hold the board position though. So he's going to give his minions +2/+2. That's 12, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23... 25 damage that you will have, and I think he's deciding that this is the time to actually go and use it. Does he trade or does he go face? I think by doing this you basically dedicate yourself that it's time to actually push face. This is a lot of damage. He's going to decide that trading may be a little bit better. He's going to put him down to 11. To see the power of the wild, but I think this is a case where Self-Mode isn't unable to deal with the rest of this board, and I believe that will be a Nog then taking the win. Having a look at Self-Mode there sitting across does seem a little bit frustrating. Unfortunately, he's going to be able to do at least 5 damage. Swipe would have been perfect for him. Swipe would have actually been a little bit, he would have been off mana for it, but he is able to at least do that. That's 12, and Self-Mode is going to go down, and Nog is going to proceed into the next part of the tournament. He's going to be going through to the semis, one step closer to the 5,000 Rand prize pool, 5,000 Rand for first place. So really well played there by Self-Mode, unfortunately not drawing the cards that he really would have liked at the time that he would have liked them. So Nog only going down with his Rogue, his Druid playing really, really well. And in the end, that is going to be Nog taking the win here, 3-1. Proceeding further into the bracket for the top 8. He is now in the top 4. And his next opponent is going to be Epsilon, who had taken down Pandemonia 3-1. Just to give you an update of the other games, there's Dib versus Zamok, both are Cape Townians that have come through. Currently it's 2-1 to Dib. And then there's another game between Gascoon and Schooled, and that's currently 1-1. So, stick around, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be killing the stream for a little while. We're going to be coming back a little later for the next fixture, which will most likely be the winner between Dib and Zamok and Gas and Schooled.